Hello all of you out there, and in today's video I'm going to share with you the top 10 best wildcard tames based on how often they appear on cover art. So let's get into it. So in at number 10 is the Mosa, and anytime water is kind of apparent in any Ark poster art or art of the sort, the Mosa is always going to come up somewhere, and the Megalodon is quite common as well, and the Bloodstalker will occasionally appear in some scenarios like that, and one other ocean creature which is further on the list too, but I'll leave that anonymous for the time being for the sake of spoilers. But in terms of the Mosa as a creature, unlike what it is on the cover art, this is pretty much one of the most powerful sea creatures, which is probably why it is on the cover art of most Ark Ocean cover art, and it is extremely powerful and it looks extremely impressive with its big teeth and also its very symmetrical and long shape. It definitely makes sense why this appears a lot and why this is one of Wildcard's favourite tames to put on Ocean Ark cover art. In at number 9 is the Theory, and this creature is apparent in some of the cover art which you'll find in Ark. Obviously it isn't going to be in everything, but you'll find it in the background of some things, just gathering some bushes, or in a pair occasionally. And when you look at the photos of Ark in Steam, when you just flick through all of the kind of gameplay images, and the Theory definitely does appear quite a lot, and a lot more than other Ark creatures, which is obviously why it is on this list. And again, like the Mosa, the Theory's shape is very, very iconic with its big claws, which is why a lot of Ark players call this thing Freddy Krueger or the Tickle Chicken. Personally, I'm more of a Tickle Chicken kind of guy. And in terms of the use of the Theory in the actual game, it is an extremely useful creature which you'll use a lot, which is great that it is on the cover art, as you know that this thing is going to be in the game and a big part of the game, considering how much the Theory is advertised in the general space of Ark. In terms of its use, I don't know why I didn't say it before I talked about advertising, it is an insane gatherer of fiber, berries, thatch and wood, and it is really great for bosses as well, especially the dragon on the island, as it is a herbivore, so the dragon is significantly less OP towards it. So the Theory is definitely a great shout at the moment on ASA. If you're looking to do the dragon boss fight, get some Theories, don't bother with things like Rexes, get some Theories and you will have the best time. Now we have the Baselo, and this is the ocean creature on which I was talking about. This is the ocean creature which is even more popular than the Mosa on cover art, partly because a lot more people use it, and when you looked at the ASA trailer as well, this is in the ASA trailer, and I'm pretty sure the Mosa isn't, and the Baselo is definitely the more popular of the two dinos from general Ark players right now, so it is definitely obvious why Wildcard picks this thing for cover art and trailers and all of that instead of the Mosa. Obviously the Mosa is still going to be there and Megalodons are still going to be there, but the Baselo is always going to be there somewhere, and if it isn't, it might be some older bit of cover art when the Baselo wasn't as popular, as it has definitely gained a lot of popularity over the last 2 or 3 years. And in the earlier stages of Ark, I don't even know if it really existed. I did tame it at some point, I'm not actually sure. This definitely didn't come out with the original release of Ark, but it has definitely gained popularity in recent years, which is why it is so popular on cover art. Next up, we have the Wyvern, and this creature essentially makes up a sixth of the general main Ark cover art. Obviously, there being 6 main story maps at the moment, being the Island, Scorched Earth, Arboration, Extinction, Gen 1 and Gen 2. Soon to be another DLC map, but we don't know what that is yet. Probably not actually very soon, it'll be sometime next year or even early into 2025, who knows at the moment, but we are expecting a story arc before obviously Ark 2 comes out, as who knows at this point when that thing is actually going to release. I can't remember when its original launch date was announced, but it is definitely gone past that point by now. I think it was supposed to be out for like Jurassic World Dominion, something along those lines. So essentially the Wyvern actually makes up a sixth of the main Ark cover art, which is why this thing is here, and a lot of Ark fans do really really like the wyvern, and it gets talked about a lot, and it is an extremely popular creature, like I've said. And it has a wealth of abilities as well, like that wing flap ability which you just saw, which barely anyone uses, but it is actually a really good way to get wood. And they can also pick up a wealth of creatures too, although their turning circle is absolutely abysmal, and sometimes they can't land properly, which is a little bit of a bug. They do an extremely high amount of damage, and they have great stamina and great speed, and they are actually one of the fastest flyers in the Ark game, so don't underestimate them. For a similar reason, we also have the Reaper coming in next on the list, as obviously this thing is in the Arboration cover art, but I think if I looked at it correctly, it is somewhere in the Gen 2 cover art or somewhere related to Gen 2, which is obviously why it is higher on this list, and that is obviously why it is above the wyvern, as it now essentially counts to 2/6 of the total of the main Ark cover arts, and for good reason. The Reaper is an extremely impressive looking tame, and it has a very recognizable shape, which is why I use it a lot in my thumbnails actually, as the Reaper is something that even the least experienced Ark players can pick up if they know a little bit of Ark knowledge. Otherwise they'll just assume it is a Ark creature which they haven't seen before, and they'll just click on the video anyway. Not to say that viewers are dumb, I don't want to fall into that category of someone that thinks my viewers are dumb. I know all of you out there are intelligent, I'm not saying you're dumb there, but I'm just saying generally how thumbnails work and how the Reaper is quite an enticing shape. But yes, never take me saying from that you viewers are dumb. I highly value you, and you are the reason why I'm successful on this platform, and I'm extremely grateful for all of you out there. I don't know if I've said that before on my channel, but I really do mean it. Next up, we have the Rock Drake, and you may think I'm going a little bit crazy now, as surely the Rock Drake is just on the Arboration cover art, and it isn't going to make it onto the Gen 2 cover art, as the Rock Drake isn't in Gen 2. And you'd be right, but the Ultimate Survivor edition of Ark has the Rock Drake on the cover, which is why the Rock Drake is above where the Reaper is, as this creature is on the kind of now main cover art for Ark Ultimate Survivor Edition, which is the whole full package. This is recognized as like the best creature from Arboration, and the Reaper did not make the list. And again, the Rock Drake has a really iconic shape, and again I use it quite a lot in thumbnails. Obviously I'm not going to use it for every video, that would be pretty stupid, but who knows, this thumbnail may have a Rock Drake in the thumbnail. Actually, I've made the thumbnail at the moment, there'll either be a Reaper or a Rock Drake in this thumbnail, so whatever one it was, that is the one I decided to go with. And I'm just giving you a little bit of thinking behind how I make some videos, as I know some of you out there do make your own YouTube videos too, and you know, with all of these videos I do try and educate you, as well as obviously just giving you general information on what's going on. I also like to educate you on content creation as well, not just on Ark, as I know loads of you out there do want to get into making your videos or make videos already, and it is nice to pick up some tips from other creators on YouTube which are maybe doing something which you would like to do and are doing it with the success which you would like to see. Obviously I'm not saying I'm the most successful YouTube channel out there, as I'm definitely not, but again I'm very grateful for all of the support I have from you out there, and I didn't really expect this audience 7 months ago when I started creating content. Next up, we have the Shadowmane, and again this appears on the cover art for the Ultimate Survivor Edition of Ark and on Gen 2 as well. And yeah, this thing is just so apparent, and the reason why it is higher than the Rock Drake on the list is also just because it is the more popular and newer creature, it's more ability packed, and it is definitely more utilized nowadays in terms of cover art than the Rock Drake is, as the Rock Drake, you could say, is somewhat outdated. That creature is 6 whole years old now, soon to be 7 going into next year, which is absolutely insane to think of. But it's also insane to think that the Shadowmane, I think, is 2 years old now. Did Gen 2 come out in 2021, or was it 2022? It might have been either. It's 1 or 2 years old now, which is absolutely insane, as Gen 2 really does not feel like a while ago. But obviously it is very very understandable why this thing is on the list. This is a so recognizable creature, and it has a wealth of abilities. It's extremely popular, and it came out on a new DLC, which obviously adds to its popularity. In at number 3 is the Bionics. And on so many cover arts, and I think the main cover art on Steam for Ark, when you install the game and you go into it, the Bionics is right there. The Bionics, for some reason, and in my opinion, I'm glad for it, is shown on so many things. Probably just because of its iconic shape, and the Ark character really does scale very nicely with this creature, as if you put them on a Rex, you can't really see that whole character and their expressions and all of that. And if you put them on a Raptor, which obviously sometimes does happen and will happen a lot in terms of cover art, they may seem a bit too big, and you kind of want a bit of perspective on the size of the dinos, and the Barry seems to do that perfectly. And obviously in the game, especially on the islands, you're going to be using the Barry a lot if you want to have any kind of reasonable success in caves. Unless you have another caving creature preference, comment down below what is your caving creature of choice. Obviously mine is the Bionics, or maybe I'll go for a Shadow Main. In terms of its other special abilities, just apart from being the right size to fit into caves, if you press right click on your mouse, you can do a spin attack underwater, which will stun creatures up to the size of a Megalodon, which is just a really cool, nice ability to have. In at number 2 is the Rex. And with the new ASA cover art for the game, there is literally 2 Rexes on the cover art, so that is double right there. The cover art for ASA just has the Rex on it, although there is one creature which is obviously topping this thing, as this thing is only in number 2. But I'm definitely sure that you all knew that already. As you know, 2 isn't the same number as 1. Don't know why, that is a completely irrational point. I am so off topic today. Sorry, either way, back to the Rex. It is obvious why the Rex is on so many cover arts, as this is one of the most iconic dinos out there. It has a very recognizable shape. It is big, it has big teeth. It just gives everything a really nice scale. Maybe not as nice as the Bionics in my opinion, but the Rex is a creature which every person that just knows what a dinosaur is will know. Like, the first dinosaur you learn is the T-Rex. So games are going to sell, and things are going to sell more if you chuck Rexes on the cover of your game. Probably why ASA has 2 literal Rexes on the cover of that game. And the Rex is obviously used very widely throughout all of Ark's cover arts, right from the original, and in the original trailer the Rex was shown as well. And I think the Rex was shown in the ASA trailer, although I'm not quite sure about that. And you should tame the Rex in ASA if you haven't already, as it is easier than ever to tame, and I've talked about this so much recently, but it is now one of the easiest tames, and the fact that drops are more OP means a saddle is really easy to find for this thing in a drop. Tame a Rex on ASA as soon as you can. And did you see it coming? In at number 1 is the Raptor, and obviously this creature is the most marketed. Not really sure why. Don't know why I couldn't speak there at all. It is unreasonably late when I'm recording this. But back to the topic. Again, don't know why I'm so off topic this video. In terms of obviously the Raptor's marketing, this is like a staple of Ark. And the first screenshot we got of ASA was obviously of a Raptor, and a lot of the marketing around Ark has a Raptor. The original Ark wallpaper, the character was riding a Raptor, and the Raptor is again one of the most recognizable dinos. You'll learn about the T-Rex, but you'll also learn about the Raptor, which I don't really get isn't called the Velociraptor, but you know, it isn't in Ark, so it isn't. I don't really have an issue with it. Don't get why it wasn't called the Velociraptor, as that is obviously the more kind of correct term for it. But I guess you can just call it whatever Raptor you want, and it is also a lot easier to say and a lot more simple to say, as with Ark players in general anyway, stuff just seems to get simplified anyway. Stegosaurus never gets said, it's always Stego. Triceratops turned into Trike for some reason. but that's probably because the saddle was just named Trike Saddle, and then people adopted that name. But there are loads and loads and loads of weird names for creatures, and obviously the Raptor doesn't have any. It's just so well known. Everyone just calls this thing the Raptor, and there is really no mistake on why this thing is the most advertised Ark Tame out there. But I just want to know, what weird names do you call creatures? As I don't really have all too many, apart from calling Titanoboas Danger Noodles. But definitely, I want to hear those down in the comments below. But anyway, that is the end of today's video, and make sure to comment down below those weird creature names, and also make sure to comment down below the top 10 creatures which you see the most on Ark cover art, and I'll see you later.